Hello friends, this is Jack from Choco Anime Recap, and today I'm going to recap the 2023 action war anime called Vinland Saga, Season 2, Episode 5. But before that, it's my humble request to every person who is watching this. Please like this video and share it with your friends. Askeladd casts a piercing gaze towards King Sweyn and declares that he finds the monarch's appearance unappealing. He asserts that it is unacceptable for someone with such a countenance to wear the crown. Those present are taken aback by Askeladd's bold statement, with many of them wondering if they heard correctly. He cast a sidelong glance at Canute, a smirk playing at the corners of his mouth. Thorkel rose from his seat, ready to intervene, but Canute's stern voice stopped him in his tracks. Canute reminded Thorkel that King Sweyn was not to be harmed, and that Askeladd's madness must not be allowed to escalate. King Sweyn, realizing too late that he had walked into Askeladd's trap, offered to forgive his transgression if he would just sheath his sword. But Askeladd was having none of it. He called the king a barbarian, stating that insulting his family and people was a crime deserving of death. King Sweyn warned him one final time to back down, but Askeladd only laughed. He revealed that his name was not truly Askeladd, but just a nickname given to him by his mother. Askeladd declares his true identity as Lucius Artorius Castus, the legitimate ruler of Britannia, effortlessly deflecting a flying goblet with his blade. Just as Floki prepares to charge, Askeladd severs King Sweyn's head with a swift strike. The lifeless body crumbles to the ground as the crown tumbles towards the platform. As England reels from the aftermath of King Sweyn's death in 1014, the country is plunged into conflict as both Canute and Ethelred II lay claim to the throne. The situation is further complicated by attempts to poison Ethelred, and the country is consumed by war. In 1015, Canute and Gunnar set out on horseback through the English Midlands, near the borders of Mercia and Danelaw. Gunnar comments on the once great Mercia's current state of decline, to which Canute responds that they are to blame. As they pass through a camp, Canute inquires about the activities of the troops they had sent ahead, to which Gunnar reveals they are looting and capturing women to sell as slaves. Canute, who considers such actions illegal, demands that the offending soldiers be beheaded and their heads displayed on spikes along the road as a warning to others. Gunnar is taken aback by the severity of the punishment, but Canute maintains that those who cannot follow the laws of his army are not fit to be soldiers. As Floki approaches the two powerful leaders, he respectfully dismounts his horse and bows before Canute, expressing his great honor to receive the esteemed warrior in his presence. Canute inquires about the preparations, and Floki reassures him that all arrangements have been made, and they are eager to welcome him. However, when Floki starts to downplay the importance of Canute's presence, Canute quickly interrupts, insisting that he would like to take care of the matter himself. Floki objects, mentioning the timid nature of Edric of Mercia, but Canute asserts that a man's bravery and his usefulness as a pawn are two entirely different things. He declares that he will be the judge of Edric's worth. Canute explains that he has another motive for coming to appease Thorkel, who storms up to them, shouting obscenities and challenging Canute to a fight. Thorkel expresses his frustration at being pulled away from battle and his desire to take the head of his enemy. Canute reminds him that Mercia has called for a ceasefire, but Thorkel remains stubborn, declaring that a battle should never end until the enemy's leader is defeated. He states that he was on the brink of victory over Edric. However, Canute reveals that there is someone even greater than Edric that must fall, but Thorkel is unmoved, fixated on completing what he has started. Floki approaches Thorkel with a proposition: the young Prince Edmund, son of Ethelred, is making dangerous moves in the east, and they must band together to face him in battle. But Thorkel refuses, brushing off Floki's advice. He reminds Canute of the promise he made, that he would forge his own path and determine his own destiny with his own actions. Thorkel scoffs at Canute's hesitance, calling him an inexperienced boy who has yet to earn his crown as King of England. Thorkel encourages Canute to embrace the challenges ahead, to embrace his battles and conquer them with strength and determination, just like the legendary warrior Askeladd. Despite the efforts of those trying to stop him, Thorkel breaks away and walks off, warning Canute that he's giving him a pass today, but there won't be another chance in the future. Gunnar was fuming with anger at Thorkel's audacity. He wished that Canute would take notice and reprimand him. However, Canute had a different perspective. He believed that Thorkel had given him valuable advice, and he envied the idea of living a life with nothing to hide. With this thought in mind, Canute set off to visit Edric. Upon arrival, Edric presented Canute with a pile of gold and valuable items, worth an estimated 4,000 pounds of silver. Edric offered it to Canute in exchange for him pulling his troops back from Mercia. Canute, however, was not impressed. He picked up a necklace from the pile and dropped it back onto the pile, a smirk spreading across his face. Canute declared that if this was Edric's offering, it was far too modest and not worth his consideration. Canute posed a question to Edric, asking if he wanted him to accept the offering and simply depart from Mercia. Edric confirmed that this was indeed his wish, and that the sum offered should suffice as a Danegild. Canute, however, disagreed. He explained that the amount was still insufficient, and that if Edric truly thought about it, he would understand that he was asking the Bretwalda of England, Canute, to leave his lands and forgive his disrespect towards the king, all for a modest sum. Canute emphasized that he was the king, and had personally come to put an end to the rebellion. Edric's son interrupted, declaring that their true king was Ethelred of Wessex, not Canute. Edric silenced his son, stating that it was not the time for such discussions. Canute then brought up the existence of another individual who called himself king, and asked if he was the one who permitted Edric to make his offer. Edric replied that he did not, but would understand if he knew the reasons behind his actions. Canute stated that he must be merciful, allowing his followers to retreat from the battle in exchange for territory. Gunnar silently pondered that Canute was rather cunning, while Floki chuckled in amusement. Canute told Edric that having two kings would only lead to chaos, and that one must inevitably fall. He stated that Ethelred was a coward who fled from his responsibilities during the last war, and asked if it was wise to trust England to such a man. Edric asked if Canute was requesting him to betray Ethelred. Canute responded by saying that Edric had already betrayed him, and he merely wanted to make use of his services. He wanted Edric to carry out the assassination of the king and suggested that he likely knew the best way to do so, being a loyal retainer for many years. Edric was taken aback by the request to abandon his honor and loyalty, but Canute pointed out that he would leave Mercia in peace if Edric brought him Ethelred's head. Edric firmly declined, to which Canute remarked to Floki that the man has quite a backbone after all. Canute called Edric outside and brought him to a large wooden pyre. He lit the pyre, and smoke rose in response from several locations in the distance. Edric asked Canute what the signal fire meant, and Canute explained that it was a warning of what would happen if he tried to fight. Canute threatened that he could have set Mercia on fire in an instant. Edric was terrified and fell to the ground. Canute asked him if buying peace for the price of Ethelred's head was not worth it. The following year, Ethelred II passed away from an illness. He was succeeded by his son Edmund, who went to war against Canute, but also died of an illness just 7 months later. With a smirk, Thorkel leaned back at a table next to Asgeir and scoffed at the notion of illnesses being cited as the cause of the sudden death of England's former rulers. He pointed out that it only took Canute 3 years to secure England's reign, a feat that had taken King Sweyn over a decade to accomplish. Asgeir added that the council had officially recognized Canute as the King of England, and that he would be crowned the following year. But Thorkel quickly shut down the conversation, telling Asgeir to stop speaking of Canute. True to prediction, Canute was crowned King of England in 1017, having eliminated all rivals through mysterious deaths. In a twist of fate, Edric of Mercia betrayed Canute soon after, and was executed in December 1017. And this brings the anime to an end. Comment for part 6, don't forget to like and subscribe if you enjoyed, and turn on the notification bell so you never miss out on another video. Until next time, take care. Until next time, take care.